This is my stash of poly bags. I'm going to turn this plastic waste into a usable material for sewing. For this to work, I'm looking for bags made from low-density polyethylene. If there is no recycling symbol, there's an easy way to see if this is the right material for this process. Stretch the bag. If it stretches, then you can use it. If it tears instead, then you can't. The process works by melting the material together with a dry iron between two sheets of baking paper, making this a really accessible process for anyone who can use an iron. I start by preparing my bags, opening them up along the edges and removing any secondary material around the handles or the handles themselves. The plastic will shrink with the heat, so to make them more predictable, I pre-shrink the sheets by ironing them individually. I also press the sheets with a heavy book as it cools to keep it flat. A large panel of wood with some handles for pressing would be a much superior tool if I only had one. You can see that different bags will shrink in different ways. I have my iron set on full strength on these passes and it's a little too hot as I'm melting holes in the plastic and I got a bit of a headache from plastic fumes. I reset my iron to not quite cotton and had much better results. I can then prepare the bags for fusing. I'm working towards a camo style design. First I cut out the areas of text and put those to the side. Then cut the remaining plastic into interesting shapes. I lay out a large sheet of the pre-shrunk plastic to use as a base layer, adding the plastic with the text as a filler. I place the baking paper over the top and fuse the material together with the iron until the entire sheet is covered. I repeat this process, this time focusing on the aesthetic, laying out the scraps in a way that pleases me. I continue adding more material and fusing it together until I reach the desired thickness and look. Again, make sure to keep pressing the material as it cools to keep it flat. I've seen others overlay a heavy weaved fabric when pressing to imprint the fabric's texture into the surface, but I'm happy with this texture for my project. Once you are happy with your sheet, you can cut it out to the size you need for your project. I recommend a knife and a cutting mat for this. I would also recommend pressing the edges once more to make sure these are totally sealed. The material surprised me with how well it sews. The feed dogs really grab the material and keep it moving under the presser foot, but you can easily swing the material around the corners. Also, finger pressing gives a really nice sharp fold that will stay in place. I did some tests with some different stitch lengths. At its shortest, it did undermine the strength of the material and tears the same way as perforated paper, but thicker areas put up more of a fight. Test your material before you start your project to find the right stitch length for you. This is a great material for bags and objects you might make from leather or similar semi-rigid materials. And considering how easily, cheaply and relatively quickly you can produce sheets of material, I would highly recommend giving this a try. Find more sewing content on The Unpicker, and if this was useful, why not subscribe?